They say if you haven't lived in Lagos, you haven't really lived. Lagos is the city that never truly sleeps. The city where Okadas zoom past like they are in a race against time. Danfo conductors shout destinations in a language only Lagosians understand, and the streets hum with the rhythm of hustle. By day, it is a rush of markets, music, and motion. By night, Lagos transforms, and you'd see grilled suyas at street corners, laughter echoing from beer parlors, and the deep bass of Afro beats spilling from roadside speakers. But hidden between the chaos of high-rise buildings and traffic-choked expressways lies the heart of Lagos, the semi-urban communities, the places where life feels real and people still know their neighbors by name. It was in one of those parts of Lagos where generator hum replaced silence and neighbors shared Sunday rice that Bidemi lived. Bidemi was a young woman full of vibrant energy, and she was the kind of person who could walk into a room and instantly lift the mood. She had the kind of laughter that made people turn their heads and smile, even when they didn't know what she was laughing about. Whether it was the old woman selling pop-off down the streets, or the boys that played football near the transformer, everyone had something good to say about Bidemi. She was that kind of girl who was soft-hearted but full of life. You could call her the unofficial sweetheart of her streets. Bidemi loved her family deeply, especially her mother. Mama Bidemi was her gist partner, a prayer warrior, and sometimes a argument buddy. They could quarrel like sworn enemies in the morning and be sipping gari together by afternoon. One minute they will be shouting at each other in Yoruba, and the next they will be laughing over who stole the last piece of fried meat from the pot. And if you made the mistake of taking sides during one of their heated discussions, you were on your own. They would settle and leave you up and dry in the cold. That's how strong their bond was. Two peas in a pod that could fight and still share a bed that night. At home, Bidemi was the eldest of three girls. Her younger sisters, Tolu and Fikayo, were both in senior secondary school and practically as shadows. They adored her and the feeling was actually mutual. Their closeness went beyond just sisterhood. They were close and they were friends. The girls had mastered the art of sharing everything, from their mom's untouched wrapper they would cut and sew secretly, to wigs, bags, and even sanitary pads. On days when one of them didn't have enough data, the others would hotspot without grumbling. It was the kind of sibling bond that made even outsiders smile. Their home might have been small, but the love inside was larger than life. During our university days, Bidemi had lived off campus with three other girls, Chinonso, Ada, and Fumi. Those girls weren't just flatmates, they were her sisters in every sense of the word. Their bond had grown over late-night cooking, borrowing each other's clothes for impromptu events, and sitting cross-legged in the middle of their room, dissecting every detail of their campus crushes. They laughed over heartbreaks, shared personal dreams, and even had a common journal where they wrote letters to their future rich selves. Sometimes they would stay up at night discussing everything from politics to hostel drama, then to pepper soup. Each of them brought something different to the table. Nonso with her fierce confidence, Ada with her motherly wisdom, Fumi with her endless sarcasm, and Bidemi with her warm presence that kept everyone grounded. Now, even though they had all graduated and moved on with their lives, their bond hadn't broken. Every weekend, their WhatsApp group buzzed with voice notes, random memes, and I miss you messages, because distance had nothing on friendship like theirs. But life, as Lagos would remind everyone, always has something cooking at the back burner, and for Bidemi, a new season was already unfolding. Being freshly back home after graduating, Bidemi still carried the habits she picked up from campus life like a badge of honor. You would think staying under her mother's roof would adjust her ways a bit, but not Bidemi. Every morning, she would stroll into the bathroom with her big speaker, blasting Hayastar or Ashake, humming loudly while she used the bucket to bath inside a tiled shower with a perfectly functional tap. It was just how she liked it. It is sweet like that, she would say to her sisters with a shrug. Her sisters couldn't understand it, but then again, Bidemi had always been her own kind of person. One issue and a campus habit that truly got under Mama Bidemi's skin though was the way her daughter disposed of her used sanitary pads. For the longest time, Mama had begged, scolded, even tried to teach gently, but Bidemi, she remained stubborn. Every month, once her period started, she would wrap up her used pads in a black nylon, tie it twice, and toss it in the bin like she was disposing regular trash. No rinsing, no soaking, nothing. Just whoosh into the waste basket. But why don't you wash it off, Bidemi? Her mother would always ask. What if dogs tear the nylon or someone opens it? Wash this thing now, please. Mommy, please, please, please. In school, we only wrap it up and burn everything. Who has the time to start washing used pads? This is not 1982, Bidemi would say, waving her hands like she was swatting a fly. Her mother's voice would rise in frustration. But this is not school, Bidemi. You are in my house now. You think people burn pads here like in hostels? Wash it like your sisters do, please. But of course, Bidemi, the Gen Z queen that she was, would take matters with levity. She saw no point in stressing over something that could be handled fast. She would roll her eyes dramatically, tap her phone to change the song playing in the background, and mutter something like, old school wahala, ha! Meanwhile, her younger sisters, Tolu and Fikayo, remained faithful disciples to their mother's pad disposal gospel. Every single time their period came, they would enter the bathroom, take their time to rinse out the pad, scrub the blood markings, and ensure it was properly wrapped before throwing it away. It was like a monthly ritual for them, and they actually never questioned it. And while her sisters washed off their used sanitary pads, Bidemi would just joke. She would lean on the bathroom door frame, arms crossed, with that mischievous grin on her face, and then say to her sisters, "See as you two are washing pads like you're doing laundry. Next thing, Ina go iron them too." Her sisters would ease or laugh depending on their mood, but they all knew Bidemi loved to poke fun more than she loved to change her ways. Months by months, as her mother kept sighing and complaining, and her sister stayed obedient to her mother's words, Bidemi continued to live like she never left that hostel room, convinced that the world should bend to her rhythm and not the other way around. But then, sometimes life has a funny way of humbling you. One quiet Saturday evening, Bidemi was lying flat on her bed, phone in hands, eye glued to Instagram like she was being paid for it. She scrolled lazily past food videos, fashion reels, and endless skincare routines until something odd caught her attention and had for a menstrual cup. The video showed a girl smiling like she just won the lottery, sliding the cup inside an illustration pelvic. The video showed a girl smiling like she had just won the lottery, sliding the cup in effortlessly and sliding the cup in effortlessly without actually showing how it is done, and going about her day like a superhero. The video showed a girl smiling like she had just won the lottery, sliding the cup in effortlessly and going about her day like a superhero. Abeg, Bidemi muttered to herself, shifting on the bed. Yes, Bidemi had heavy periods. In fact, her flow could embarrass a whole sanitary pad pack by day 2. She had long accepted that a full pack of baths barely survived a monthly cycle. So, the idea that one small silicone cup could replace all that, it just didn't add up. How this thing won't even enter, she wondered aloud. And who smiles like that on day 1 of her period, when she would be drowning in pain and stomach cramps? Still, curiosity tickled the edge of her mind. She lingered on the hard for a second longer, then scrolled past, letting it disappear into the sea of content she would never return to. The next month rolled by and Bidemi did as usual. After 5 whole days of cramps, mood swings, bloating, and draining pad changes, she was finally free. Her period had ended. She tossed the last batch of used pads into her usual black nylon, double knotted it, and strutted out to the backyard to dispose it like a warrior dropping her weapons. But when she got there, the major waste bin their family used was already filled to the brim, and the lid couldn't even close again. She just hissed and said, "Chai, this thing is full, oh, I need to look for a bookie that will come and empty this thing." Now, In their part of Lagos, the state waste disposal vans were a distant mate. They barely came, and when they did, it was like a surprise visit from a long-lost uncle, as it was unreliable and short-lived. So families like Bidemi had actually adjusted, and they now relied on local waste collectors, those Hausa men who pushed iron carts around the streets, calling out in voices only Lagosians could decode. Mallam or Habuki as they fondly called them. Now there was no particular one Bidemi's family used, as dozens passed the area every few days. Some came with bells, while others with clanking chains. Then, one early morning, just as the sun was stretching across the sky, and the cocks were still half asleep, Bidemi heard that familiar clink-clank sound, the unmistakable rhythm of metal eating metal, and the slow roll of cart wheels on uneven ground. She sat up quickly, peeled the curtain to the side, and peeked out of the window. Finally, she muttered, it was a Mallam, and not just any Mallam. This one was a strong, lanky one, dragging a slightly loop-sided cart stacked with black nylons and different waste products. Bidemi didn't even check if she looked presentable. She cracked her window open and shouted, Mallam, Mallam, wait though, they come, I won't pour the tea away, Mallam, wait. The man stopped, looked around and nodded, his long iron tapping the side of his cart as he waited patiently. Since the Mallam was around, Bidemi figured she might as well empty the other smaller trash bins from the kitchen, bedrooms and bathroom too, so she hurriedly gathered them, a wrapper tied carelessly over her nightwear, and then she gave them to the Mallam, who began stacking everything on his cart. Once done, she told him to wait as she dashed upstairs to grab some naira notes from her purse. But just as she was about to return outside, something odd caught her eyes from the balcony. There, right by the cart, the Mallam had started sorting the waste. He separated bottles into one sack, cans into another, and then paused. With a grin stretched wide across his face, he picked up the nylon she had wrapped her used parts in, pulled one out discreetly, glanced around, and slid it into his pocket like it was a treasure. Bidemi froze. Her heart skipped. What did I just see? She whispered. Then she immediately saw that the Mallam was briskly walking away. What? He hadn't even collected his money, so why was he suddenly in a hurry? That's not how these waste collectors operate. They never walked away from payment, but this one was already dragging his cart like someone being chased. Without thinking twice, Bidemi flew down the stairs, barefoot and breathless, shouting, Mallam, Mallam, wait, come back here. The man didn't even stop or turn fully. He just looked over his shoulders once, then picked up his pace, his slippers scraping the pavement as he hurried away. Filled with confusion and anger, Bidemi ran faster, a wrapper threatening to loosen as she caught up with him near the street junction. Breathing hard, she stood in front of his cart and backed. Give me the pad you put inside your pocket. Her eyes darted to his hands, his pocket, and then back to his face. The Mallam blinked, confused for a second, then quickly denied it. Me. Pad. I don't take anything, no, he replied, shaking his head rapidly. But Bidemi wasn't having it. You dey lie, she said. I see you from my window. You carry am and you pocket am. Wetin you wan use and do? Her voice was rising, trembling with a mix of embarrassment and rage. Then like an instant, she screamed, a long, piercing scream that bounced off the walls of nearby houses. Help me, oh! Help me, oh! Neighbors, come out and help me, oh! Mallam, carry pad, where I use? Help me, oh! She screamed again and again, and just as expected in Lagos, the magic worked. Head stunned, neighbors opened their gates. A few passersby stopped mid-walk, looking confused. Within minutes, a small mob began to form around them. Wetin happen? Wetin Mallam do? Another one said, now wetin at the talk with this? Una go dey trust all these people. Some men started moving closer to the cart. Others looked at the Mallam up and down, their eyes suspicious. Bidemi's voice rang above the murmurs. He carry my pad where I use. He carry and put am for him pocket. Bidemi stood the ground as the small crowd circled tighter around her and the Mallam. I saw him with my two own eyes, she shouted. He picked the nylon I used to throw away my sanitary pad and put it in his pocket. The crowd gasped collectively, and all the attention turned sharply to the Mallam, One elderly man with a towel draped across his neck stepped forward and backed. "Oh yeah, open your pocket, make we see wetin dey inside." But the Mallam shook his head violently. "No, no, I no carry anything, leave me," he insisted, his eyes darting nervously from face to face. "I no get anything for pocket," he repeated, stepping back slightly. Suspicion was written on every face by now, and then in one swift motion, the Mallam reached into his waist pocket and pulled out a locally made dagger. Rusty, sharp and threatening. The crowd scattered briefly, gasping as people jumped back. "Make una no come near me," he warned, eyes wide and voice trembling with fear. That was the last straw. Someone in the crowd hissed and murmured, "So na like this they use cover up, they do evil. Make we call those area boys abeg, make them teach them some lesson. Call the area boy from the next street, make they come. These abokis go just they come Lagos, they do as they like. But wetin we no fit do for their side, na im they go come Lagos, come they do. Make una call those boys from next street, make they come, make we settle this matter now." Within minutes, a few boys from the next street, bare-chested with tribal marks and ardent eyes, stormed the scene carrying sticks, woods, and even machetes. They didn't ask too many questions. One of them pointed at the Mallam and shouted, "Now you be the ritualist, Abi? You don't jam your last today." It was a scene to watch. Shouting, pushing, people screaming and dragging the Mallam back and forth. Realizing the odds were against him now, the Mallam suddenly dropped to his knees, hands raised. Please, cannot be ritualist. I just want to dispose them well. I swear, I no want use and do anything bad," he cried, his voice cracking as he slowly pulled the stained pad from his pocket. He held it up like someone trying to prove innocence, his hands shaking. "I don't know say you go cause problem. I swear to God, I just want ever throw away and well." But nobody believed him. The anger in the crowd was boiling now. "You are lying. You dey lie. You won't go sell and give Baba. Now so una dey take person destiny," someone shouted from the back. "You won't use woman blood do ritual, abi?" Another voice added. Despite the Mallam's continued pleading, the area boys moved in and descended on him with sticks and kicks, shouting curses as they beat him. The man crawled into himself, trying to block the blows, screaming and sobbing as the mob unleashed their fury. It took the frantic call of a shop owner and the arrival of the police siren to disrupt the chaos. The police waded through the crowd, pulling the boys off him one by one. The Mallam's face was bloodied, his clothes torn, and his voice a whisper as he begged the police to save him. After that incident, Bidemi changed. She became a new person entirely. She never disposed of her used pad carelessly again. Something inside her moved the moment she saw the Mallam slip that pad into his pocket. The shame, the fear, the thought of what could have happened if the mob hadn't arrived in time. It lingered like a smoke after a fire. Even though she still couldn't bring herself to wash off the blood like her mother had always advised, because the one time she tried it, the sight and the smell made her vomit so badly that she almost fainted. She found other ways to trash her parts properly. She began buying extra fuel just to be sure the parts were burned properly, and if she couldn't burn them, she would dig small holes behind the house and bury them herself. It became a personal ritual now, one that gave her utmost and beautiful peace of mind. As the days went by, and as Bidemi had changed completely, her mother didn't let it go easily. Bidemi's mother had a way of teasing that wrapped love and mockery in one sweeping jab. Sometimes she would hum tunes like, "Pad wey dem dey sell for ritual, person wan dispose am like biscuit wrapper." Or she would randomly throw a side eye and say, "Hope say you know they donate again for Mallam o." Bidemi would fake a laugh, but inside, the wound still stung. It wasn't until the day her mother walked in on her during a full-blown anxiety attack that Mama understood how deeply the incident had scarred her daughter. She sat beside Bidemi that day, eyes wide with worry, and held her hand in silence. From that moment, the teasing stopped. Bidemi's mother didn't just stop mocking her, she softened. She became more present, helping her daughter find new ways to feel safe, comforting her through the triggers, and making the house a sanctuary again. It took time, but healing crept in slowly, quiet, gentle, and steady. So, my dear sisters listening to this, never take this for granted. Always take time to properly wrap your used sanitary pads before trashing them. If you can't wash them, then you can burn or bury them yourself. Protect yourself, please. The world may seem normal, but strange things still happen. Stay safe, stay mindful, and never forget that you are worth taking that extra painful step for. Till I come your way with another true life story. Bye.